Okay, it's day 2, I guess, of the disassembly. I got most of the oil soaked up with pig mat. Still back in here a little bit. See what this side looks like. Yeah, and there's quite a bit back here, but I can at least get all the chips vacuumed up, and I think at that point I'll go back to removing components. So I'll bring you back after I do a little work with the vacuum cleaner and get this thing wiped down. Okay, we're going to remove the cross slide screw, the lead screw, the dial, this plate. Let's just see how far we go. I got a 5/16 Allen wrench, and there's 2 cap head screws back here. And this one's actually been injured in a crash. These wobblers are great because you can, they're very forgiving. If you can't be flat down like this, you bring this thing up. And it's going to prove very useful also as well on the dial when I go to take that off. So anything that I can put back in its hole will go back in its hole. This is just a cover covering up the lead screw. We're going to call it the lead screw. It's the cross slide lead screw. So I'm going to refer to it as the lead screw, not to be confused with the lead screw, which is the main screw. So that just comes right off. There's a couple oilers on there, a couple oil holes. That is all oiled independently, but that's a second oiler. So that's one piece. I'm going to put these back in their holes. And we know we're not going to misplace that at this time. And let me show you what this looks like now. So basically that just exposes the lead screw. You can see all the swarth that's down in here. It's really not on this side, but and it doesn't stop necessarily here. Okay, so there's a oiler spot here for that lead screw. You can put oil directly on the lead screw without disassembling too much. You do have to do a little adjusting of the compound to be able to pull that all the way, to be able to access the whole thing. Okay, next, there's 4 cap head screws here that are holding this screw, this whole mechanism. And we're going to be unscrewing the lead screw from the nut, which is directly below this. So I guess I didn't mention that, did I? So that's part of what that is, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off so you can see it. So we'll go ahead and take out the cap first, the oil cap. And I'll just put that upside down there. Okay, now next, I forget what this thread is. I think it's 5/8 16 maybe. I know I have a tap for this because I had to tap the new nut that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and put that screw back in there so we know where it goes. I'm going to set that aside in the box here for right now. I made this box to any tools that I use. During this whole job I would throw in this box. You know, we'll have to go searching for them, theoretically. So we're going to get a look down this hole first here. And you can see my my nut. You can see I drilled well, the top of the nut is exposed as a screw because I needed the clearance. So looks like hell. It's crappy, but it works. So let's see if I can get these without. Okay. And this is where the wobbler shines. I wouldn't be able to do this easily without the wobbler. It just makes it a lot easier. Okay, and these are also 4 screws that I will be able to put back in their home. Okay, I have my my just sharpened 1-inch wood chisel. Okay. Oh. My drift needs a little work. It's, to say the least, it's falling apart. But I think all I need to do is damage those threads well enough. It's a mini lathe project, so now I have that, and I should be able to pull this out, leaving my half nut in the machine. See what I'm sure you're seeing all this. I'm going to reinstall the original nut until I get a new screw. It turns out that making that new nut really didn't the problem wasn't the nut, the problem has always been the screw. And okay, so let me pull out the nut that I made. I basically bought this nut from McMaster Car and had to do a little work to make it actually fit. This is what retains it. I think that was 5/8 but the original is here, and I did make a lead screw, left-handed, Acme. Somebody mentioned that I wasn't doing my cutting my left-handed threads correctly. But I don't know, I think this argues the point, because this fits the original nut, not just fine, but it threads on. It could be tighter. So I thought the wear was just in the nut, but I believe the wear is going to be in the screw as much. So here is the screw. Now, what I propose doing is buying this screw. I gotta push the button to see what you're seeing. Okay. What I propose doing is buying this lead screw, cutting this off here, drilling in here, tapping, and then with my new lead screw, turn it down, thread it to be received in here, and join that together with the bottom of this. But the more I look at this, it looks like I should be able to pull this gear right off, because it's turning on that shaft. So I may need to I may need to rethink that, see how this is see how this is actually attached. But that's one of the fixes that I want to accomplish, is a new lead screw, new nut. So I'm going to go ahead and put these screws back in here. We're not going to waste time doing that. Okay. Now we are looking at, well, let's go ahead and finish taking this off. So all the parts go in the box, and I'm going to pull the gib adjusting screw out. And there's one on this end. One in the back is designed a little differently than the one in the front. Bear with me. So this is the one in the back, and this is the one in the front. And they're both basically playing push me, pull me with the gib strip. Right here. So let's clean that off and get a look at it. Now, I don't know how uncommon or common this is, but this has, I would assume, like a stainless all solid, oil hole, solid, and this side actually has this on this attached, and it goes Yeah, this actually rides on the inside of this dovetail. So I'm not sure if this is a unique situation or not. So now we can go ahead and pull our cross travel or compound off. Okay. We are going to oil gets pumped up these holes into this and lubricates, and that all comes from the apron. When I was taking this apart the first time, I mentioned, well, I don't need to clean those holes because I thought the oil went that way, but DJ at Fabric informed me otherwise, that this oil is coming out of this hole up into the compound and lubricating that. So what we have here is a double dovetail. And what we're looking at is two different slide points. So there's a slide point for the compound and for the cross travel rather. And this dovetail down here is for the taper attachment. Okay. So the taper mechanism would hook up to this, and this would need to be set to where it moved freely. And there is an adjustment here for tightening and loosening that up, kind of a give adjustment for adjusting that travel, the ease of which that'll travel. As it is right now, for some reason, it's pretty locked up, pretty solid. I can get it out of there, but it's literally pounding it out. So let me back you up a little bit. I'll pull the give adjustment screws. Okay, making sure that you can see what I'm seeing. So this is the same situation. The screws are a little different from the front end to the back end. And I probably made myself a liar. Here comes the back. I don't even know what it's called now. The give, the back screw for the give. And they seem to be identical front and back. Okay, now see if I can drive that give out of there. Okay. So there's the gib for the taper attachment. It doesn't have that little righty thing everybody else had. It has a number stamped on it, 281, as does my nut. All the cast parts, most all the parts are numbered to go to this machine. So this is travel for the taper adjustment. I've never had it move that easily before. I'm just a little bit suspect. As long with being suspect about that, I'm suspect about where I laid my screwdriver down at. Which is why I want to try to always put these screws right back where they came from. So that these are kind of a specialty screw, so it might be something that is hard to replace. Okay, so this one there I'm going to put to the side, and I'll get it when I get back around there. Now, so let me show that to you. So this, after the give is out, this slides right out. You probably already saw that. So there's that. Put that down here on the cover. Now here is the dovetails for the cross slide, and the back of the bottom dovetails are for the taper. So I need to lift this a little bit to get above that gear down there, which I'll show you in a second. Make clearance. So there's that. There's the clearance for the gear. Put that over here. This is the gear for the cross slide. That's normal state there. And then tighten this up. And it's waiting for the shafts to turn that to do the power feed. Now I'm going to turn this back. Okay, so that's what was giving me so much trouble when I first got the lathe. This thing wouldn't budge, this screw. And we'll see that when we get the apron off. Up here there's kind of a half moon cut out, and there's a piece that goes in there, and this screw shoves that piece into the dovetail to lock it in place. So if you were going to be using the taper attachment, you would loosen that up, loosen those gibs up a bit, and allow this to travel in there freely. Oil. So oil gets pumped up through the apron into the saddle, and then the oil will come out here, and it comes out here, and that allows oil for the saddle itself running on the bedways, and it allows oil for this slide, and then it pumps oil up through here to lubricate this whole mechanism here. So, and when we get the carriage off, we'll be able to see the top of the apron where all that oil originates from. So, taking the carriage off is a matter of 4 cap head screws, 2 and 2, and 2 slotted screws, and that will release the carriage. There's 2 blocks in there that anchor this down to the bedways. And that'll be another story too, because one of them was missing the first time I took this thing apart. And what had happened is it fell down into the mechanism during the last time they were reassembling it, and they didn't bother to retrieve it and locate it back where it belongs. So there's 4 cap head screws, or 4 slotted screws up here on top of the carriage. 2 of them hold this down to the apron, and 2 of them are part of the mechanism that holds this down to the bedways. And there's oil, redundant backup oil balls for the crossways as well. Okay, my battery dictates that is the end of this video, and I think I might actually force myself to stop as well. It is 1:30 a.m. and yeah, I need to not be working on this anymore tonight. Hopefully I took this off and explained in a manner that would help somebody else do the same. Give somebody else an understanding of what exactly is going on here. So, as far as the taper slide, I just cranked that baby down. As far as the half moon I mentioned, it's inside my bottom box somewhere. So I reassembled it the last time without it because I couldn't find it because I didn't stick it where it goes. So thanks guys. Next we'll be taking the carriage off, and we'll be removing the apron, and when that comes off, we will have, there's 4 bars that go through this: the lead screw, feed direction, the travel direction and power, and the clutch. So everything will come out. Well, no, the feed direction shaft can come out all the way, but all that will be, all these pipes, all these rods, whatever you want to call them, they will be coming out still attached to the apron, which will make putting everything back much easier, being that I won't have to be trying to feed those through the system. Once it's off, the lead screw will come out and the directional screw can come out, and I think the main feed screw will leave alone. At least I've never taken it off in the past. Probably no reason to start. Thanks guys. Like and subscribe, tell a buddy, bring a friend.